Now we're moving on to game 3 between Butcherbird and Hadriz, who don't fall off their Glady, as in game 2, Hadriz Cathayan Cannon sniped Butcherbird's Regiment of Renown Hell Cannon and Regiment of Renown Zinchian Doom Knights, immediately ending the battle pretty much before it started. Now we're here in the beautiful, absolutely beautiful MP. So I believe this is Peak Pass. And Butcherbird is seizing the initiative with a Vanguard Wood Elf build into Hadriz Empire. We've got bows and cavalry, a very interesting and very Wood Elf build. Get this menu here out of the way. By the way, sometimes people ask me how I get these little status icons. Press spacebar in battle, this little arrow will appear, you can open it up. Anyway, let's get to the battle here, as we've got Gladion Great Stag leading the way, bunch of Glade Riders with some Wild Riders as well in here. Way Watchers. Yeah, what is this? 3 Way Watchers? Very interesting. Very kind of old school in a way. Spellsinger Lore of Life getting cannonballed. We've got Marcus Wolfheart leading the way with 5 Huntsmen for the Empire. 2 Mortars, one of which has already been taken out. We're going to talk more about that in just a second. Some Swordsmen, some Spearmen, Knights of the Blazing Sun, and Empire Knights, which are immediately responding, try and get after the Hawkeyes, who are going to get a very timely prey upon a Thraman from the Glady, dump in a bunch of bowfire, and immediately these Knights of the Blazing Sun are in a very, very dangerous position. Their lowish melee defense and lower armor than other Empire cavalry will mean that in a surround like this, even the Glade Riders will trade pretty effectively here and be able to rout them off decisively. So it's quite a bit of value down already between the mortars and these 2 cavalry units for Hadriz, but let's see how he's able to respond, shore up his defenses, and start to fight back here. There's a lot of huntsmen with a lot of ammunition left, and not a clear answer for them. I mean, certainly if the cavalry can get loose in that back line and clean them up, that would be absolutely decisive. But oh man, one unit of huntsmen gets focused very heavily. I guess also possible that all the Way Watchers could just shoot them, but Hadriz has got a net of his own, so he's going to tie down the Glady here. All in, shorter duration net. Area of effect doesn't matter as much, just netting a single target like that. But between the fireballs, Marcus's shooting, and the Huntsman, she has taken 50% HP damage already, and it is quite severe. So I said I was going to say a word about the mortars here, and in this specific game it wouldn't matter as much, I guess, because the Way Watchers actually have armor piercing damage, except for avoiding the damage. And of course I'm talking about mortar wagons. Yes, kind of a joke in many ways, but this is actually a matchup where they are potentially decent for a number of reasons. Number one, crew can't get shot off as easily. Number 2, that mobility does allow you to escape some situations, and while you won't outrun Wood Elf light cavalry by any means, still have enough speed to try and at least get to safety, reposition, try and avoid archer fire. That's really the biggest thing in my mind of why the mortar wagons might be a better pick than regular mortars here. It's because of that mobility and survivability. Now, you do pay a premium for it, but I mean, you could cut 1 protection spear from each of these, fold that value into the mortars, and take the wagons instead. And I think it actually ends up saving you a little bit of gold if you do that in the long run. You know, I believe the mortar wagon, yeah, if the cost is still the same. Anyway, right now, Hadriz has been able to kind of reestablish his defense here, but Butcherbird also playing very patiently, just punishing units that overextend. Like this swordsman here is way out of position, gonna get hit by those Glade Riders, and although it's not a very efficient usage of their ammunition, certainly, you know, tactically, they have to rout those Empire swordsmen, and the discourage effect on the Hawkeyes of Jakira, this Regiment of Renowned Way Watcher here, minus 16 leadership is huge. A very powerful leadership. The impact and, of course, attack by missile has its own leadership debuff on top of that, so that with everything else is able to easily rout those Empire swordsmen. They can turn their attention to a more high value Knight of the Blazing Sun, second one coming for fun over here. But we'll fast forward a little bit as this skirmish phase sort of redevelops into a second skirmish phase here. And the Wood Elves are going to very precisely just pick off threats, very, very precisely and patiently. Here, Marcus is able to defend against this cavalry attack. Blade Riders trying to get in here and get a nice charge, but just getting absolutely punished That being said, it does draw the second net out, and Marcus does have a limited number of nets he can use, only has one more left, so in a way, I mean, it does sacrifice the unit, but that does mean that potentially the Glady or the Wild Riders can come in later on in the game and not be as afraid of being netted, destroyed there. But Marcus's firing is kind of looks like he's shooting at the Spellsinger right now. Continue to fast forward, and once again, Spearman gets out of position. Wild Hunters of Kurnos come through and punish them very heavily. And it's going to continue on in this fashion for some time. One Wild Rider, again, tries to come through here and break the density of archers, but really, Butcherbird playing off, mostly off of his Way Watchers right now, just punishing anything that comes too close to them. I mean, being forced to shoot at the Spearman is really not ideal, and so Hadris presenting his units far forward, you know, from like the artillery and the knights and stuff, is smart, definitely. Just, you know, if a unit gets out by itself too far, then obviously it will get punished, but yeah, forcing the Way Watchers to expend ammunition on those mostly unimportant units is definitely going to be pretty key here, but we see another attack from the light cavalry imminent. Nice net. Marcus manages to net the Glady as well. On the Great Stag, she's got quite a bit more HP, but going to be taking damage nonetheless. Combat stats, 65-60, definitely higher than Marcus's as well, but got, you know, knights and other units quickly rallying to his support, so Glady is forced to pull back, but the Wood Elves are just about out of ammunition at this point. Going to be a maneuver game to see if they can get their own units into position to rout the Empire. Hadris, for the most part, just has to stay tight here, continue firing with the mortar and what's left of his huntsmen, and hopefully just try and draw the Wood Elves into an engagement on his terms. Let's see. We're going to continue to play a lot of this game in fast forward, as it does take some time, but some nice positioning here. Just punishing Hadris for having these infantry units out in open space. The outmaneuvering here with the light cavalry is quite beautiful. Then, like, sacrificing the one Glade Rider along with the Glady here so that she can get some attacks, take down a few of these Knights of the Blazing Sun without getting soloed out. Pretty critical. See if she's able to actually rout them before Marcus comes to tangle with her. The other unit of Wild Riders here, Glade Riders, also getting in, finally shutting down what's left of the Empire's missile units, and as a result, it's pretty much just the Spearmen left, and the leadership is potentially going to be a problem. We can see the Way Watchers using some of their last precious arrows, finish off those Knights of the Blazing Sun, allow the Glady to escape that situation. Likely would have lost a grinding melee fight to Marcus there, so just, you know, bailing out there. Saving, especially the Hawkeye's ammo, is super important in this situation. They can provide that leadership damage in order to see units off of the field, but Wild Riders coming through once again, trying to chase those routing units, and we'll go back into a fast forward. The Mortar Crew does manage to get back online, but again, if it was a Mortar Wagon, they wouldn't have to. It would be subjected to the anti-large bonus, but yeah, I mean, it has armor and everything else. Generally a much tankier unit. Hadris is just going to kind of throw in the towel here eventually, as pretty much all of his power units were done. It was just, you know, a couple of tattered infantry versus all these Way Watchers and Wild Riders, which can kind of hammer and anvil together, which I definitely get. I don't know, maybe Marcus could have pulled out a win there just by absolutely soloing through a bunch of stuff, but it would have taken a long time. Way Watchers get some insane value. Probably one of the best Way Watcher games I've seen so far in Total War Warhammer 3. So quite impressive performance from Butcherbird there. The Wild Riders also, I mean, two of them, this is what I expect from Wild Riders. The Regiment Renown actually does pretty good. Still doesn't pay for itself. But, I mean, tactically they do enough to hold off the Empire's advances and allow those Way Watchers to just get work done. Absolute work done. Glady also contributes some nice value here as well. From the Empire side, the heavy cavalry is definitely tough, and the mortars, I mean, one of them got enough damage to pay for a mortar wagon. You know, this is what I'm saying. Mortars can do enough damage in this matchup, certainly, to pay for themselves. I just find that when they're attached to the wagons, it's a lot easier to keep them alive, especially if you have, you know, meaty sausage fingers like me and tend to miss micro things. Again, just fold in a couple of these spears, or you could even, I mean, you don't want to cut shields necessarily from the units you do have. I'd probably even, or even just one huntsman would be enough also, because they're, what, 650? Let's go ahead and take a look at that briefly. We come in here to the Empire, and yeah, it's so it's 950 for the mortar wagons, 650. So it's only 300 gold, right? That is literally cut 1 huntsman or cut 2 spears, and you have enough to upgrade. And it is one of those matchups where I think, given the threats from light cavalry and archers from the Wood Elves being so prevalent, I think it's a very, very worthwhile upgrade. And I can't believe I'm saying that in all seriousness, but I've got a replay to show you guys probably next week in this matchup where I'll kind of give you that in practice. So hopefully look forward to that. Look forward to the rest of this series, as well as Butcherbird is now on the board. Can he complete the reverse sweep? Come tomorrow to find out if he can survive Game 4 to force Game 5. And yeah, subscribe for that. Hit that bell notification, like, subscribe, all that good stuff. Thanks again. We'll see you next time.